Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
The great man. I call him my Attorney General. Tad, sorry, how you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my best.
You are doing more than your best too. Oh, tell you the remarks we're getting when you appeared on the show. Those who knew were like, what else did you expect? And those who didn't know you were like, wow, where has he been? And I'm like, hey, where have you been?
You're intimidating me.
You see, nobody can intimidate you.
Oh, you're making me shy. I didn't read those comments, but I don't think I was that. I just spoke my mind, that's all.
Yeah.
And so maybe my mind.
You know, it's a funny, we have a country that loves people who speak their mind and at the same time afraid of the truth.
Okay.
But they appreciate people who come and speak their mind, you know. So, well, they appreciated you.
Yeah, but I have a lot of critics too. Some people think I'm too hard and I shouldn't be speaking the way I speak. But if I would speak the way people want me to speak, I'll be a different person.
Yeah.
So I'm just speaking like myself. And people should just appreciate me as another human being who would contribute to make the world be what it is.
That's all.
Because it takes all sorts to make the world.
That's all.
Yeah.
And by the way, we all don't have to agree anyway.
Absolutely.
So if you disagree and criticize me, that's fine. That's your opinion. But let's move on.
Terrific.
Tad, today I really wanted to take you back a bit since you've been here. Your last visit, we were talking about the CG petition. It was during that era.
Okay.
Now we have moved away. We've gone through a vetting. There's a new Chief Justice. First of all, before we even talk about the new Chief Justice, what did you think of the vetting process?
I have issues with the vetting process, not just in recent times, but before. This one was a little even lower than the standard, if you ask me. So there were two rival contentions. There's a minority leader who wants to make a statement before the vetting process starts, and he says it's in accordance with parliamentary practice. Now, I don't remember that the practice is to literally denigrate the nominee and the institution he represents, because when I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw justices of the Supreme Court sitting behind him, and I saw other respectable people sitting behind him, and you start by calling him a disputed nominee.
We gather to vet a disputed nominee for office of Chief Justice of Ghana.
Now, where is the dispute?
That alone you thought was not called for?
It was below the belt because it was a platform in which positions were not equal. He had no obligation to respond to that, and nobody could respond to that for him. Why is he disputed? Is he disputed because somebody else ought to have appointed him, or because somebody is in court? The court is not. The court proceedings right now have nothing to do with the vetting process. It has nothing to do with the president's constitutional power to appoint somebody to fill a vacancy.
So there are two things. There were court proceedings going on regarding the removal.
Yes, but there was a removal.
Yeah, there was a removal. Yeah.
Nobody could deny that. As a matter of fact and of law, there has been a removal.
Okay.
Challenging the removal process has nothing to do with the president's power and duty, obligation to us Ghanaians to ensure that that vacancy does not stay the way it is. And so you cannot call him disputed because he is not disputed. Who has disputed that appointment? It doesn't lie in the power of anybody in this country to dispute it because the power is vested in the president. He has exercised it. The dispute lies in whether the removal was proper or otherwise. If anything happens, the law has ways of dealing with it. After all.
But you don't believe there was a dispute?
No. What was the dispute? There was a dispute regarding the correctness or otherwise of the removal. But as for the appointment, there can be no dispute.
Okay.
Because the power vest, was there a vacancy or is there, no, we cannot now ask whether it's there because there's a new Chief Justice. At the time that the vetting was taking place, was there a vacancy? As a matter of fact and of law, that was presumed to be the position. Irrebattably presumed until it is reversed. And so if you say a disputed, it's wrong at every level. And so I could understand the majority leaders' interventions and reaction to the premises upon which the other side was proceeding.
Honorable Minority Leader. Honorable Minority Leader, just hold it a second. Yes, Honorable Ayarga.
Mr. Chairman, we are here because our rules say we should be here. And the same rules indicate exactly what we can do or not do when we gather here. My objection is founded on content of speeches. I've heard the ranking member of the committee refer to, I believe, the nominee as a disputed nominee to the post of Chief Justice. 123 says, a member shall not raise any question. 123(5). A member shall not raise any specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion during the current session, except on a substantive motion for rescission. Apart from that, Order 1237 says that the conduct of the Speaker, the Chief Justice, members and justices of the Superior Court of Judicature shall not be raised in Parliament except upon a substantive motion. You cannot raise anything about the conduct of a member of the Superior Court of Judicature of this country in Parliament except by a substantive motion. No substantive motion is before us, and so the ranking member has no right, no lawful authority to raise anything about what happened in court, the processes leading to a removal of anybody, and the nomination of anybody. You have no right, pursuant to our rules, to raise those issues. So be guided, because if you raise them, I'm going to object.
So that was my first observation, that you are allowed to make a statement, but what is the history? Do you denigrate the nominee? And I'm not saying it is because this is the head of an arm of government. Saying any ordinary person like me, if I appear before Parliament for any reason, if you require me to appear before you, you must show me respect. You can't start by speaking to me only because the states and the law has given you a platform which allows you an advantage that I don't have. If you want to exhibit the character or the stature that you say you have, let's meet outside your forum. But when you take advantage of a statutory forum, it is not because you are better than anybody, and to literally be denigrating people who are older than you. And I'm saying, even if you were older than them, it is an unequal platform to match a one-on-one.
Is it a semantics issue that the word disputed was not accurate and something else could have been said? Maybe
I'm not about to correct what should have been said. What I'm saying is that it's not semantic. It's not even legal. What was the position? Why was the nominee disputed? Who can dispute that? It's not as if there are two institutions or two individuals or two powers in this country who can appoint a Chief Justice. There's just one man who can do it. Under what circumstances can he appoint one? He can appoint one when there is a vacancy. Was there a vacancy? Yes, as a matter of fact, there was a vacancy because the person was removed. The fact that you are challenging the removal does not in any way displace the fact of law that you have been removed. And I'm saying at every point in time, people go to court to challenge a parliamentary election, a presidential election. So we won't swear the person who has been declared in office because somebody is embarking upon a gamble of probably overturning the election one way or the other. At the time that you are challenging it, the law and the fact is that the person is the rightful owner of the office. So at that point, what was the dispute? So it was not only disrespectful, it was not also properly communicating to Ghanaians what the true circumstances and facts were. And so we are dealing with, apart from the fact that they are public officials who must, in communicating with the public, at least present to them what the truth is. You are allowed to do politics. But is that the kind of politics that we want? It led to so many other things on that same day. Apart from the disrespect to the nominee, it even went further to affect another justice, the most senior justice of the day, Justice Puamang, who was the chairman of the committee that recommended that the Chief Justice be removed.
We, the minority, hold the view that the subsequent committee that was set up under the chairmanship of His Lordship Gabriel Scott Puamang to trial the Chief Justice amounted to a travesty of justice.
Chairman.
To some extent, I would blame Justice Puamang because, as I have said, I think I've said here or somewhere, that his own report is the problem. The minority leader was one of the reasons why I petitioned, or my client petitioned for the removal of the Chief Justice. There was a huge count which mentioned his name and mentioned the acts that formed the basis of our petition. What was this count? We said he had set a precedent, in fact, a record in the court by being the only party or being the only person who within 2 hours was able to get a full panel of the Supreme Court presided over by the erstwhile Chief Justice to give him orders that by the scope of the application before the court, no court in the world, in the common law jurisdiction, will give him. Now, in the course of all of those proceedings and after, people who knew the two of them spoke to me and they said, don't you understand? That is his sister. The removed Chief Justice is his sister. When
sister in terms of
Ghana, they come from the same place.
Okay.
1, 2, when her father died, the minority leader hosted her visitors, and people who were there called me. So in some of if I had attended the next proceedings, the next person against whom I was going to raise that objection was the Chief Justice. I said, all of these arguments we are having back and forth, and you are literally descending into the arena of conflict, is because somebody that you are close to is the plaintiff in this particular matter. Who was the plaintiff? It is Afenyo Markin. 2, there is now information coming out that there are services being rendered in the judicial service which are linked to Afenyo Markin. So
services being rendered?
Yes, certain services. I don't want to give all of those details because I have it, but it shouldn't look personal between me and him, that he's rendering those services and getting commercial profits from them, and huge ones. And so at this point in time, when Afenyo Markin is making it look like, okay, there's a national public interest aspect of all of this nomination process, and there's some dispute and all of that, it has nothing to do with a minority position. He sold it out to his colleagues to believe that, well, we all have to take a collective position against this. But it is a personal interest.
So in other words, you say he roped in the party, but the agenda is nothing to do with the party as a whole?
If you ask me, yes. And I'm saying that when we petitioned, there was every evidence to show that insofar as that aspect of our petition against Afenyo Markin was concerned, there ought to have been a definite finding on it. One, we said there was no basis for the speedy fixing of that matter for hearing. Her response, and that is documented, is that no, there was a basis. And her basis was that, look, I had already issued a directive to the effect that election matters should be expeditiously dealt with. Question, was this an election matter? No. It was about cross-carpeting.
Yeah.
So factually, that's not correct. Legally, it's not correct. Two, she attached that her directive, and this is a lawyer and the Chief Justice. When she attached the directive was dated December 2024. This case took place in October 2024. So as at that time, there was no directive. So it was clear that this was a person who was doing a personal favor. There was no rule of law. It did not even accord, there was no practice direction according to her. Her principles on the basis of which she fixed it, the circumstances didn't exist. And she plainly lied in her response. Why was that not a basis for her removal? That the person who represents justice in this country can literally look at us, lie on the face of her own paper, only because she wants to justify a position she's taking to favor a particular individual. And that individual now wants us to believe that, oh yes, there are real and genuine reasons why we shouldn't be having a vetting. And because of who we are, we haven't checked. Now look, seriously speaking, we don't see any dispute here. And so the facts that we have show that you have an interest in her being there. And so he's crying louder than every other person because he has an interest in the woman being there. If we interrogated all of the counts upon which we petitioned the president for her removal, you will see that they would have sustained.
Why were those grounds left out?
Yes, I'm giving one of the examples. That in Afenyo Markin's case, the committee ought to have found, and that's why I'm now saying I blame Justice Puaman. If he had made those findings, he wouldn't be sitting down there saying, oh, and then even Justice Puaman did this, he's a beneficiary and all of that. Justice Puaman is too much of a legal luminary to understand that the position of Chief Justice is not his automatically. And so was even Justice Bafuboni. That upon her removal, there was no contract, no law, which said that they will be the next. So why will they be doing that only because they intend to benefit? When you sell that out to the public, you are not being honest. Because we have just seen in recent times that the most senior justices have been ignored and other people appointed. Why is it that these people who have been there and have seen themselves being ignored in favor of others would believe that removal of the Chief Justice would be to their benefit? It clearly doesn't make sense. But when they sell it out there, it goes out and resonates well with certain people because there's the sense that, oh, some people were interested, they just wanted, it's political and all of that. Puaman, Kulendi, all those existing justices, none of them has a guarantee. In fact, the Chief Justice doesn't have to be a justice of the Supreme Court. He can be taken from anywhere at the bar. There's no requirement that the next Chief Justice to be appointed, or even the one that was just appointed, ought to have been a member of that court, of the Supreme Court. No. In fact, they could have taken the person from the Circuit Court or the District Court and appointed the person Chief Justice. So why were they doing this to favor a government when they had no contract with the president that, well, if you remove her, I'll give it to you? And if that was the case, Puaman did it. Puaman was the chairman of the committee that removed her. And I'm saying that the removal actually took place because there were laymen who understood this thing in simple context, that how can a Chief Justice be doing all of these things? If it were left to us lawyers alone, all of these arguments that don't even add up or make sense to the ordinary man would have...
The issue that the thing was in certain courts, ECOWAS court, and she had filed certain petitions and so the court should wait to hear from them before the appointment went through.
And the e-levy case, what is the final determination of the Supreme Court on it? Before it was implemented and we were paying, who was Afenyo Markin in Parliament at that time? There are so many of these cases that have been pending and things have happened and people have moved on. And so pending cases
cannot affect these decisions like that.
At all. He knows better than that. I'm saying that there have been several cases pending. I took Soyini has a case pending for close to 10 years now involving ratification of mining leases. That case has never been called from any year up to now. And his point is that there are some mining leases which have not received parliamentary ratification, and the Supreme Court has determined that without parliamentary ratification, you don't have a mining lease. Those companies are still mining very well. Does he know that? And a case that has been thrown out already several times, we must wait, because the position of Chief Justice is a personal one for the person who thinks they are better suited for it, and for those who think they will benefit from it, that position. It's clearly everything I didn't think was right. It was not fair to the Ghanaian public at all.
You mentioned in the beginning that you have never really been a fan of the vetting process,
yes.
But this one in particular had reached an all-time low.
Absolutely.
What is the process supposed to be like?
Now, if the process is supposed to judge the competence or otherwise of the person to occupy a position, you find that there are all types of questions that do not relate to what the person is coming to do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are you a Catholic?
A staunch Catholic.
Ah, okay. Do you have a firm belief in the rosary, the power of the rosary?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have one here. Yes, please.
You brought your rosary?
Yes, please.
Are you familiar with St. Francis of Assisi's prayer? Do you pay your tithe in the church? They have your records of tithe pay?
My dues, yes, please.
You regularly?
Yes, please.
So, who is the parish priest there?
You are talking about the Chief Justice, who mainly performs administrative duties. The reason I will side with this Chief Justice, I will have voted for him, is because he has spent a number of years on that bench, right from the lowest level to the highest level. He has seen the administrative problems.
I've been a justice of the Supreme Court since 11th of June 2008. So 17 years plus I've been a Supreme Court judge. Before the 11th of June, for 2 years I was a justice of the Court of Appeal. Before then I was 6 years as a High Court judge and 7 years as a Circuit Court judge. If you look at my CV and if you follow the trajectory of my career, I was actually I actually was made a Circuit Court judge by Chairman Rawlings. Then I was promoted in 2000, and I was sworn in together with Sergio Jamefe. I was sworn in by the then Vice President, President Mills. Then I was elevated to the Court of Appeal by President Kufuor. Then to the Supreme Court by President Kufuor. So if, that was 2008. So if 17 years later, another president deems it fit to eliminate me to the position of a Chief Justice, I think I cut across all political boundaries. I don't think that, I think I'll be a reason for people to say that, oh, this man is deserving of the position. Because from Rawlings, Mills, Kufuor, and then Mahama, I think I deserve the position, that's why.
He can say he was a driver's mate, or he can say he was in a subordinate position and couldn't influence them. He has at least a year right now to show us signs that with all of that wealth of experience, he's been able to set in motion certain things that people can benefit from. They removed Chief Justice, came with all types of policies that she alone could boast about in respect of their success. Oh, there are clear-cut rules that say, when you file a process, the next stage is this, and the next stage is this, and the next stage is this. She comes to say, look, there are new rules. This case will be fixed for hearing only after certain steps, ignoring the clear-cut, the rules made by Parliament. She had power to ignore them because she says, I'm implementing reforms. What did it result into? Simple applications for 6 months in the Court of Appeal and in the Supreme Court. You wouldn't get them heard or fixed for hearing. Oh, Adenta Court will sit morning and afternoon. For what? How many? Somebody should show me. I wrote against it, first of all. Somebody should tell me what it achieved. It only disorganized people's lives. Because you wake up in the morning and then your case is in the afternoon. In the afternoon, it's not even started. You go in the morning. The morning, which knows that it has to close by 12 or 1 in order for a new one to come. 10 o'clock, the person hasn't started. Hasn't started to deal with any case. So the process was not really geared towards new Chief Justice. People are complaining about justice delivery. People are complaining about adjournment of cases and all of that. Tell us practically what the issues have been. Tell us exactly how we can tackle these problems. Because when I started practice, judges were writing in longhand. They were very effective. Their cases moved faster than today when judges don't have to write. They say things are electronically recorded. A motion for joinder takes you 2-3 months. Something that in those days,
they were writing in fast, longhand,
and I'm saying
things were moving?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I'm saying in those days, before you even got up to move a motion, the judge knew the basic principles, had read it, and the lawyer needed only to focus on specific issues that would sway the judge's mind one way or the other. On some occasions, joinder, injunction, stay of execution. These are things that judges would dispose of in those days very easily. 6 months, a lot of them, they are still sitting down there. Those are the things I expected to hear the Chief Justice respond to. Are you even aware of them? How many lawyers have you spoken to in connection with the justice delivery system? And to tell us what their frustrations are. Have you received any petitions? What are they in respect of? What do Ghanaians want to see in the justice system? He must have seen some all through these years. Let's have a practical interaction so that we can hold the Chief Justice to some of the things that he says. You know, but we are all over the place. You are vetting somebody for the position of Attorney General, and he has to dance Agbaja.
The Agbaja dance, do you know how to dance it?
We dance in my side of the Volta region. We do not dance Agbaja. We dance a couple of them. We have Akpi. Do you know Akpi? Then we have Bobobo. I believe you know Bobobo.
So, honorable nominee, we are here to learn about our country. Kindly demonstrate the Akpi dance a bit, just for a second.
Honorable nominee, the question is overruled. You are not going to demonstrate.
To show that he can be Attorney General. He's had to be Minister for Culture.
Yeah. So basically, it's not just the CJ vetting that you have a problem with. The whole vetting as a...
I think they should look at this whole idea of prior approval. That the Constitution didn't say vetting. It said prior approval of Parliament. There ought to be another way of... When they look at your CV and they've done your background checks, if they are calling you for any vetting, then there are specific areas they want you to clarify. Otherwise, Parliament should do an acclamation and you go. And then if you go and you can't deliver, your appointer is there, he will sack you. Yeah. But they keep all of us glued to television. And we are sitting down there and watching a process that 95% of is a joke.
Did you have the benefit of any secondary source of income?
Mr. Chairman, I'm married to a very industrious woman.
No, I don't get it. Please explain.
I'm married to an industrious woman.
Okay, so please explain to us. If you say you are married to an industrious woman, and that is the source of your secondary income. What exactly do you mean?
I mean, my wife takes care of me.
Very well.
It is.
Yeah, and
it
so
it is. Really?
and then you are going for vetting, and your village people will come, and the party people will come.
Yeah.
And then, what is that for? Is it a popularity contest? You know, we don't. There's no sanctity and respect even given to the whole thing. I don't want to be going for a vetting and a group of people are following me and all that. Pray for me. Support me with ideas. That will make it more worthwhile. But you realize that it's all a thing. Oh, are you coming for the vetting of your minister? Are you coming for the vetting of this person? What am I going there to do? Would I answer a question? No. What is my wife coming there to do? To do what? Coming to give yourself pressure. Say, oh, that's your husband. Can you talk to him about this? My family members have come, so you now know all my friends. Say, oh, talk to him about this. You give pressure to yourself for nothing. The job is for you to go and do. You are not going to do it.
How do we change that? Because this thing has bothered me for a long time. I always thought the vetting process was so useless, for lack of a better word, or so not focused. You know, why somebody's being quote unquote vetted for position, and you can ask them about what they like for breakfast?
Yes. I mean, well, I don't know whether I want to change the system because I've not been there. I'm not a politician. I haven't been vetted before. I haven't been nominated before or anything. So I wouldn't know why they do that. But I'm talking as a Ghanaian citizen. That it doesn't add anything to my life. And I don't benefit anything from that process. And I don't see how, at my level, if I think it is useless, other people, I've read constitutional law. And so if I don't find it useful, or the kind of process that has been put in place to satisfy the constitutional requirement of prior approval, of what relevance it is to the ordinary man, and how it ensures that quality people are put in those positions. If I don't see its relevance, I'm sure other people too don't see it. So if this is my criticism, they are the ones in it. They should reassess, because I vote for them. And so they should look at it again to see how.
We should change it so we can put the pressure on whoever.
Well, there's a constitutional reform system going on right now. And I'm sure you know some of them. Tell them that seriously, let's look at this your prior approval thing and all of that. It's a theory of separation of powers that requires it. Okay, the president has exercised his power of appointment. Let the people's reps also see whether that is the kind of person they want. But tell me, seriously speaking, where is the filter?
Yeah. It's just like a formality.
Yes.
The minute you sit down, well, I want to start by congratulating you for blah, blah, blah. Yes. So it's like a done deal.
Yes.
So
maybe if you congratulate the person, it's just a mark of respect to the person. But when you start by denigrating the person, only because you are in a particular seat, it's not right. If you welcome him, fine. But now let's go straight to business. We know A, B, C, D in your ministry.
So moving forward, now we have a new Chief Justice and so on and everything. What do you expect or hope to see?
I think I've told you about a few things, that the standards expected of him from me are higher because of the fact that he's been through the mill. He has worked with all of the judicial service staff at different levels. He has also encountered parties at different levels. He has even shared our experiences, his experiences with us, how he sentenced some people to 70 years for A, B, C, D reasons.
In my youthful days, I gave somebody 70 years. Atayi, I gave him 70 years. And what I told myself was that if Atayi was given 30 years and he comes back, my family will be the first family he will attack. So by the time he comes back after 70 years, I'll be dead and gone.
It means he's learned a lot from it. Let's see how it impacts his new policies. Now, and the 70 years and all of that, although they are sentencing regimes and everything, in today's theory of criminal justice, is it the right thing to have done, regardless of his fears and all of that, which should not even feature in deciding whether somebody goes for 2 years or 3 years. Those are irrelevant. So he's learned all of that. Ghana has a lot to benefit from that experience. Let's see how he uses it. When I was a student, I read a number of cases in which I assumed that the cases were Supreme Court cases because I saw Apalu CJ, I saw Akufo-Addo CJ, and I assumed they were Supreme Court decisions. They were High Court decisions. What happened? The Chief Justice descended to the High Court to sit there and decide cases. What could probably have informed that? Maybe he wanted to have a first-hand experience of what is taking place in those courts. I want to see a system where the checks within the system, in the judiciary itself, would begin to correct some of them. Like, I would advise, for instance, that look, some of the superior court judges, during the weeks that they are not sitting, regardless of their schedule, the Chief Justice should assign them at random and at very short notice to the presiding judge of a particular court. Because you see, when we all sit in a particular court for long, we become like monarchs. Let him just go there and say, oh, this morning I'm coming to take your motions. And for a superior court judge, Supreme Court judge, when it comes to the High Court, injunctions, and all of those petty interlocutory applications, in 1 hour, he will dispose of them. If he looks and says, this matter last came up 3 months ago, and this has been pending, why? Those judges will begin to sit up. And so there's a lot he can do. He has the experience, and we all know his CV has confirmed that.
I've been a justice of the Supreme Court since 11th of June 2008. So 17 years plus I've been a Supreme Court judge. Before the 11th of June, for 2 years I was a Justice of the Court of Appeal. Before then, I was 6 years as a High Court judge and 7 years as a Circuit Court judge.
So there's a lot of expectation, as far as I'm concerned, on that Chief Justice. And so let's see how he implements it. You know.
Moving on, because Chief Justice, the law, everything, I want to go into another area that it's on people's minds. This whole thing about recovering loot for the government, and how people are now starting to see that, oh wow, so it's not as simple as that. It's like the law or the legal structure itself impedes the recovery of the loot. Do you see that? Do you see how people are beginning to be afraid that at this rate, maybe for 3 years, 1 or 2 people may go in? Do you get that sense?
A little bit, but from a lawyer's perspective, I think there's a communication problem.
Communication?
Yes. One, and a political problem. So, first of all, we hear in the news that somebody has stolen an amount of money. He's benefited and he's acquired properties and all of that. That is the information. And we are a suffering people. And we're like, whilst we are struggling to get water to drink, this is the amount of wealth somebody is alleged to have amassed. And so immediately our reaction is that, no, this can't happen. And we want to see an instant result. But in that communication, we don't say that, well, this is what it is. But we have to prove all of this in courts. And the court process would not just assume what we have said to be correct. The system we have created for ourselves is that processes must be undertaken. And those processes could take quite a while. Because let's swap it. If that was your relative, or it was you yourself, you'd be entitled to those safeguards that the law has put in place to ensure that all of these suspicions, or all of these allegations we have mounted against you are really proven and established. If people get to understand that, oh yes, that is how it is, then they'll appreciate why it is taking that long. And they know that regardless of how long, if people know that they will wait for 10 years, but get the result that we have made them believe that that ought to be the result, they will wait. But It's because we are not too sure. We are sure. Then we hear this tomorrow that, oh, after all, the person didn't even steal that amount. They say they've confiscated somebody's property. The person said, not one property of mine has been confiscated. I still have every property that I have. So I say there's a communication problem. If Ghanaians understand how the process works, because I'm a defense lawyer, and I have gone into those cases and seen in some instances that an allegation or an accusation really doesn't even fit the facts that is presented to the court. And what do you expect? That because the public has been made to believe a particular point, then the accused person shouldn't defend themselves. They should just agree and they'll say, oh, we've jailed one man. You understand? So recently I've heard the Attorney General say, well, we've received reports here, but we need to look at them again. But the public's expectations have been aroused and pumped up, and they're like, what are you waiting for, AG? But he has to go to court and walk his talk. So I think we need to be clearer with our communication that, well, this is what it is, but it's our own process. It's in the law.
Who should communicate that to the people? Is there AG or is it the government? Who should be communicating that to the people?
The political commentators are responsible for half of it, because they just pick a news item and blow it up and give it all types of, especially the tree ones. They have ways of
embellishing,
of making it look very too good to be true. You know, that somebody just got up, took a Ghana Must Go bag, walked into his office, put some money in there, and walked to how much is this property, and he bought it. And how much is this property, and he bought it. So they have a way of communicating it that raises our expectations. So first of all, we should look within ourselves that when people are putting out information about some of these matters, there has to be clarity on how the process goes. That the AG or the OSP or the CID cannot, on the basis of what they have heard,
take action.
Yes, just walk into your house and say, please, this car, we hear you bought it from, bring it here. You definitely say, no, I can show you how I bought it. And that process takes a while. You know, even if you produce the paperwork, let's go check where it's from. So that is what it is. There will be slow processes, but there will be other options too. The legal regime has a lot of options for people to be able to deal with. I'm sure the AG, the OSP, everybody knows that. I've heard Martin Kwebu and the OSP having issues. I think he was here. I think it was based on what he told you. Some of the things that you hear and people's reactions are based on their own communication. What I heard Martin Kwebu say, I mean, in comparison to what the OSP said, was that, he had to helplessly watch the former finance minister walk out of this country.
So they were powerless.
His cousin was president. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
Before John Dramani Mahama was sworn in on 7 January, Nana Akufo-Addo was the president.
Yeah.
That was his cousin. He had kept him in the office for more than 7 years. I said, when he left, the president was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
At the time he left. And I'm being asked how I let Ken Ofori-Atta through this.
For him to...
No, we didn't watch him leave. We were powerless. That is the truth. We were powerless. We saw him leave, but we couldn't prevent him from leaving at the airport.
And I'll say, as a member of the public, when I heard that, if I heard it at the time he was speaking, I would have come here. Yeah.
That was in the brief.
I'll walk to a brief. Yes. Because...
Is it erroneous?
It's very erroneous and clearly not fair to us. Was it not under the Akufo-Addo government when Cecilia Dapa's house was raided? Who appointed Cecilia Dapa? It was the same Nanado.
Yeah.
And Nanado's letter to her when she resigned was even condemned by others because Nanado had expressed the hope that she would acquit herself, which should have given an indication to any public official that, hey, the old man's position is that this shouldn't happen. But her house was raided. he even went to court. What was it about Oforiatta? Or he had received a similar letter from Nanado saying, if you touch that guy, better run out of this country. We shouldn't be that unfair to Nanado. He said, oh, immigration was there, other institutions were there.
We were not getting the cooperation at the time from other security agencies.
You weren't getting cooperation?
No, we're not.
You had asked for them?
Oh, we asked for all that, but we were not. It was as if there was a policy of block the OSP out. That was what we were facing, and that was the circumstances under which we were being expected to perform. I think I've complained about these things over national security. Nope. At the time, the situation is different now. National Signals Bureau, nope. At the time, the situation is different now. National Intelligence Bureau, zero. At the time, the situation is different now. I mean, the security setup was stacked up against the OSP, so we will not be able to perform our job. This was the situation in which we found ourselves. And I'm being asked how I let Ken Oforiatta through this. And at the time he left, you call up immigration, no one will even bother to respond to you. You write to immigration, no one will even bother to respond to you. And I'm saying this unabashedly. That was the situation we found ourselves in.
I want to see a letter written, received by the controller of immigration, that, look, stop that man from traveling. And they didn't do anything. There was no evidence put. It was shifting blame to other people. Did you go to you went to Sidley at the pass house? Did he go there alone? He went there. He has the powers of arrest. He could have gone to the airport. He should have put his stop notice there.
So basically the point he was making that the OSP was powerless then does not hold water.
Not even water, it holds nothing. It doesn't even hold hair. It's an insult to us. Suddenly, so where did he get it? His Excellency John Mahama write to him saying that now you've been given a steel of armor. Attack whoever you like. He decided not to do it. That he watched helplessly. What did he do? He couldn't put before you anything to show what he was doing. And so when you are saying that people are getting disappointed, those are the type of actions that will come from officials that would give people that impression. But if we had seen that, yes, you wrote to the CID, you wrote to the immigration service, there's a track record of your engagement with them to say, look, at this point in time, please take the following action. The following people shouldn't travel. In fact, you could have put it out. The OSP is a person who likes to speak, do press conferences every now and then. The following people are on our stop list. Between now and December, no movement. If you had put that out there, you didn't need to come here and explain anything.
So explaining that that was Agufado's cousin or something was just shifting blame and...
His cousin was president. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
Before John Dramani Mahama was sworn in on 7 January, Nana Akufo-Addo was the president.
Yeah.
That was his cousin. He had kept him in the office for more than 7 years. I said when he left, the president was Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
At the time he left.
If I were Akufo-Addo, I'll call him. Say, at what point in time? So when I was giving you the position, didn't I know I had relatives? Did I give you any exception? At what point in time did I say, go and investigate the following? Who attack every Ghanaian on site? But if you see the following names, back off. At what point in time was he told that? So sometimes let's accept responsibility for it. And I would honestly speaking, I would forgive him if he says, look, there were lapses here and there. But don't make it look like, oh, you are working. And it's not the first time. When he took Cicely and the past matter to court, he said, oh, there seems to be a conspiracy, and there seems to be a conspiracy. You had lost the case in the High Court. As a private practitioner, I lose cases every day in the courtroom. Do I come to the press to say this? I know how to react to it. I know how to show the judge that what you have done is wrong, and I will deal with it. And you will see how I'll deal with it. I'm not going to throw my arms in the air and say, oh, some people are against me. nobody owes the OSP, the Attorney General, or any official in this country an obligation to cooperate with them when they are doing their work. At all. Nobody owes them that. And the judges are not sitting down there with an understanding that they have to align with the position that the OSP brings to court or the AG brings to court. And that is why I can understand when they are being cautious. They have to be sure before they go. And if they explain that to me, I would go with it. I will defend that. But just to say, the way the system is, get out of that place. When Martin Amidus couldn't do it, and he accused the president of certain things, we all saw it. Yeah. We all saw what he said he had done, but failed to achieve. But I have not seen that. And that's where I kind of understand Martin Pebu, even if he was too hard on the OSP.
There are a lot of corruption cases that are brewing in the OSP itself. The Office of Special Prosecutor has become a crime scene, okay? And I'm telling this to you on authority. Let's go conduct a poll in the OSP office today. You will see the myriad of allegations against Kisi. Look, ask yourself. I want Kisi Jabin to answer this question. Are there 2 employees of the OSP who are currently working as like house helps in his home? In his home, are there 2 members of staff who are currently working as house helps? Meanwhile, they are on the OSP payroll. Okay, Kisi Jabin should tell the people of Ghana who is Kwabena Boatin Edu, popularly called Baron. Who is Kwabena Boatin Edu, popularly called Santa Baron? The Office of Special Prosecutor has become a crime scene.
So these are the things that make people lose hope. Because for me, when I heard that, I was like, honestly speaking, I don't want to listen to you again.
Yeah.
You know, and Martin people say he's a first-class student. And his criminal law is solid. So those explanations, say them somewhere. Don't put it out there.
So generally, with this whole, I remember there was a whole issue about that the OSP had written to the chief of staff, and the chief of staff had forwarded that to the AG, and it's all about the AG responded and said, "I've been waiting for a docket from the OSP." All these legal tanglings. From where you sit, I mean, which one should we believe? Because the OSP office seems to be saying that we don't need a docket to give to the AG.
He's lying.
Is it a lie?
Yeah, I say he's lying because I don't agree with that position. The custodian of all criminal proceedings in this country is the Attorney General. And I'm saying, at what point in time? This is a man who has given us the impression that, look, even before there was a new government, there were reasons to hold the man. So your investigations didn't just start. If the AG says he wants a docket now, and you can have an excuse, and the AG is getting jittery, you can understand that. You have even told Ghanaians that way back, you tried to stop the man because you had reasons to stop him. 1 year into a regime, you are still investigating. So what is the basis for seeking to stop him previously? And the Constitution is very clear. Some people even still think that his position is untenable in view of the Constitution. But there's a small provision in it that I understand. In his enabling enactment, it is stated clearly that he can prosecute on the authorization of the AG. So how can it be then that he's on equal footing with the AG?
That the AG has authorized?
Absolutely. In his enabling enactment, the OSP's enabling enactment, he can prosecute with the authorization of the AG. So it's not as if it's between he and the AG, there's a split of power. The power is in the AG.
The OSP is not independent of the AG?
Constitutionally not, even if that was the intention. At least I can understand why it is so. That at least let an independent institution appear to be doing what the AG's office, for various reasons, cannot be doing. If the OSP decides that I'm going to prosecute a particular public official, it's unlikely that the AG will now step in and say, no, don't. But if it rested with the AG to prosecute his own colleagues, either from parliament or in government, he may not do it. But if the OSP says, I want your authorization to prosecute KSM, the minister, for this, it will be odd if he says, I won't give my authorization. But because we all recognize the fact that the power to prosecute is vested exclusively in the AG, I think the Parliament then decided that, okay, let's just add that thing there in order to be able to give him the power to prosecute on the authorization of the AG, who should not be seen to be frustrating the objects for establishing the OSP's office. So it's clear in my mind that he can't say, oh, there seems to be, he has to acknowledge that the AG, insofar as his work is concerned, is the overall, is the repository of power.
Yeah. Because what the assistant AG said was that they were waiting for a docket.
We are the only authority, that's the Attorney General Office, we are the only authority that can make extradition. But we need a docket from, an investigative docket from the OSP to be able to make these extradition requests. As of today, we still do not have a docket from the OSP. We have made several requests to the OSP, written letters, written demands to the OSP, asking that now that you've announced to the world that you are ready to have this person extradited, and there have been communication to that effect that even we've seen communication to the effect that the docket is ready and it's only the Attorney General that can make the. So we have been asking for the docket for a couple of, I think about 2 months now. We still do not have the dockets from the OSP.
He too shouldn't say that one.
He said
waiting for I'll go there and take it.
Okay. They have the power to go and take it.
I will collect it. He's the AG. The Constitution.
So he shouldn't be sitting there
and saying, oh, I'm powerless at the OSP saying.
Is there something going on here?
There's nothing going on. You see, people should just do what they should do. We like protocols, we like bureaucracies, and we like being gentlemen. But when expectations are on you, you can't be convenient, you know. So I understood the AG saying, okay, you know, we've asked for these documents and we've asked for these documents. And he says, we should wait a bit. I'll ask you, what are we still waiting for? When should I expect this docket?
He said it was tying loose ends.
Yeah, yes, I don't get it.
And I remember the AG saying that wherever he had reached in terms of his investigations, he should send the docket at any stage that it was at, including some investigators from his end, so that they can join together and investigate and
that is so difficult to do. Even me as a private individual, if I make that offer to him, he should grab it instantly, because he has an interest in prosecuting this matter, and he's the one complaining that, look, you know, I'm facing frustrations. I say, as a private individual, I can find a solution for you. Wouldn't you run there? Don't we go to all types of people to help us when we are desperate? And so, some of these excuses that we hear, it feeds into the public perception. And all of this, I'm not criticizing him. He must take it in good faith as a citizen of the Republic of Ghana, who is contributing my quota to making his work better. And that when Martin Kwebu made those statements, he made them to ginger him to do his work, that we are getting frustrated.
Some public institutions are allegedly, in any event, they are contested, or at least one institution is contesting, are allegedly frustrating the work of the special prosecutor. He has to come out and inform Ghanaians. He didn't, and he allowed Oforiatta through. And I'm saying that for that one, Kisi Ejabin and his right-hand men, two of them, have to pay dearly for it. They must leave office. Look, because you see today, Oforiatta's name has been taken off the Interpol red alert. Have you seen it? Yes. So that means that right now, if Oforiatta is traveling, he's not on the red alert. He's not on the red. All this is needless. This is preventable. This is preventable. That's why I see the charges that were filed yesterday against Oforiatta and the others as a half-hearted and half-baked attempt. Half-hearted, half-baked attempt at fighting corruption. You had the man within your grasp. You had Oforiatta within your grasp. You watched him leave Ghana, and then Manson, you now bring charges. Even these charges, you know, we had to fight that we can do a trial in absentia.
And I can understand Martin Kwebu. He did, what do you call it, oral. He's not seeing anything in it. When I see him, I say, what did you do? So I can understand his frustration. And like every other Ghanaian. So when you are criticizing a public official, they should take it in good faith. And the reason why a lot of them fail is because we praise them when they've done nothing. So every time that you get a criticism, take it in good faith and take it on board and work harder. That's all. So the OSP, honestly speaking, if I were him, some of the press statements he makes, he shouldn't. I was one of the first who criticized him when there was a new regime.
You criticized him?
I did.
What statement did he make that you...
He said, Furiata was a fugitive.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a few minutes ago, I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. The fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Oforiatta.
I said that was the most nonsensical statement to tell Ghanaians. After all of these days, you are coming to tell us that he's a fugitive. For what? So why is he now? And in those days, I said he could be charged in absentia. Why is he now doing it in absentia? Oforiatta has still not come. Why is he doing it in absentia? He didn't know at that time he could do it. So I criticized him because of some of these things. It's a little ambivalent and not too straightforward. So Ghanaians are waiting to see how this OSP from 2014 to 2015, when they said, there shall be an OSP who will make sure that all of this is dead. And we are seeing nothing. We are only seeing talk. And talk which doesn't add up, talk which is only annoying. So I told him at that time, he should shut up and do his work. That was exactly what I told him. If we see your work, you don't need to come and tell us. The people themselves will speak
for itself,
oh,
basically.
Yes. Oh, yes. So don't harass Martin people. Or after I leave here, you call for my arrest too. So, I mean, it's quite disappointing. So,
okay. Something about the legal thing that maybe you can clarify for me. Who has the authority? Because I get the impression that when it comes to extradition, like if there's any authority that can call for the extradition of Mr. Oforiatta to Ghana, it has to be the AG's office. Or does the OSP also have the power to do that? What the understanding I got was that he doesn't have to, he has to channel it through the AG. What's the...
The AG is the official minister for justice.
Okay.
In fact, and with extradition, these are interstate matters. You are going to take somebody from another state. Just take it that somebody had run into your house for refuge. Nobody can just run into this house and come and take out the person. They have to have a chat with you that these are the circumstances under which we want the person. Because in that state, there are laws. Mm-hmm. When you get into that place, you are afforded the protection of that state's laws. And so this whole question of extradition and everything that is arising, they are all afterthoughts. And arising at a time when, for me, people are losing their patience. Mm-hmm. Certain things would always be obvious to us at every point in time. I'll just take you back to what I earlier said. First, this is a person who knew that Oforiatta was a person of interest to him. Once a person is of interest, there are, you know that there's a likelihood they will travel, especially a person in that bracket.
Yeah.
So there's no step taken to even avoid the question of extradition arising. Mm. You don't take any step. When eventually he travels, then you tell the public that we have invited him to come. And he says, oh, he can't come. He should show up or we declare him a fugitive. Then he gives you a particular date. He doesn't even mind you. The date is going and people are now saying, what is going on? Say, oh, he's now a fugitive again. We have put him there again. Oh, now we have started proceedings towards his extradition. Think it doesn't look coordinated. It doesn't look focused. And so they begin to look like excuses, you know. And in fact, the regime in every way mixes up things. You have forced me to try and say something that didn't directly arise. There are issues right now about bail conditions. And I'm not happy with the explanations that I get for giving bail conditions that appear impossible to meet or that appear harsh. And the explanation that was given, unfortunately, was given by a non-lawyer, I think. He says, oh, the bail we look at is equivalent to a security that you have taken, a bank has taken from you to assure the payment or repayment of a loan. It's a lie. That's not correct.
That's not correct.
In law, it's not correct.
So the bail shouldn't be something that is considered valuable to the extent that, it's not easy to reach.
The regimes are different. When you get to surety, to providing guarantee for taking a loan, that is between two private individuals. It is contracted and negotiated. There is no state power attached to it. When we get into criminal proceedings, that area is clearly regulated. And the conditions under which, first of all, in the criminal regime, the first rule is that that person is entitled to his liberty unless a court of law deprives him of it. But there is a leeway that allows an administrative official 48 hours or so to keep you in order to be able to gather information that they want. Why must I sleep in custody in order for you to get your information? After all, you are going home to sleep. Why can't I also go home and sleep? And we meet the following day and continue. But we understand that if you invite such a person out of fear or belief in his guilt, he may not come back to assist you with the investigation. There could also be circumstances in which areas of your investigation he will preempt and go out there and try and interfere with. So in those circumstances, the law allows you to detain the person to ensure that he doesn't either flee or interfere with investigations. So there are clear-cut rules in criminal procedure that set out the circumstances under which you can interfere. It has nothing to do with the sum of money. Really? At all. It has nothing to do with it. And the detention of those bail conditions based on how much you are investigating, clearly wrong. It says if a flight risk, and they're sitting in the statutes. So you don't look at it. So when it happens like that, what the investigator can do to detain you is that, 1 billion is involved. So go and bring that amount of property. If you go and bring that amount of property, and that is your property as a public official, they should just put you in jail. Because it's a clear sign that you have stolen the money.
Yeah.
But those are not the considerations. That was on a lighter note. But there are bail conditions. Let's deal with those ones instead of now saying, I'm now becoming like a bank. When the bank even takes that security, does it throw you out of the house? No. You still go back and live in it. So let's leave out the civil regime and deal with the criminal regime. That's why you can seize the person's passport. If he has to travel with a passport. Or he has 2 or more passports, I don't know. You can check all of that. That's why you have people who come and guarantee, stand as sureties for him. But to look at the amounts we are talking about. How many Ghanaians have that? The whole village will have to, and maybe in the whole village, the properties, they are not worth what you are talking about. So you can't keep people under those conditions, no. So we are communicating badly with the public.
Wow. Because this is all new to me, because I thought setting bail was the extent to which you wanted to create a deterrent. So I'm going to make it a high bail to make sure that...
But the person is only an accused person.
Okay.
He's just an accused person. You have alleged that this is what is your case. And the person is allowed to defend themselves. Why do you place yourself only with state power to be able to prejudge the person's position at the end of the case by placing all of those onerous terms on him? So that regime is different. That regime is a criminal regime, and there's a statutory basis for the detention. The amount involved is not one of them. Just make sure that you can extract some conditions from the person to be in order that the person will appear to stand their trial and not run away or interfere with evidence. That is what you have the power to do. You don't make it you don't just make the person uncomfortable. That's not the idea.
Okay.
Or make it difficult.
Okay.
Or put a fear of God in the person. No.
Yeah. Let's come back to Mr. Fureta. At this juncture, there was one thing that he also said when I interviewed him that many people actually picked on, that it would be unwise of him to say that by a certain date I'll bring him here because that is not within his authority.
Person lives in the United States. Kisia Jabin, Office of the Special Prosecutor, even the Ghana Army. We can't just go into the US, spring him up and bring him. That is what Ghanaians need to understand.
Yeah, and
we are going through a certain very tedious extradition process to bring him back. That's why I said. That's why I was joking about it. That if he lived in Agbogba, I would have. He'll be with us as we are speaking. But since he is in a foreign country, I cannot put a date on it. And even then, the central authority in respect of extradition matters in the US could decide one thing. The President of the United States can step on it and block it and say no. You get it? So far as he is in the United States of America, we cannot put a date on it that we are bringing him today, we are bringing him tomorrow.
Then he was right.
Okay.
Then based on his previous...
That's what he was saying.
If that's what he said, then based on his own experience, he now knows why you shouldn't be talking. You should be doing. And so, unless he holds something in his hand, perhaps he's holding Ofuriata's hand, he can't be telling us that because it doesn't lie. It's more than a year now because his own declaration showed that it started way before a new government came into power. So it's about more than a year now and nothing is happening. We are not even hearing that there's a date for him to go to the airport. We don't even know what is happening to him. As we speak, people say he's in the US, others say he's in London, they've seen him here and they've seen him there. We don't even know whether he's sitting in Ghana and taking those pictures. We don't know that. For me, as another
they say I can be Ghana. Oh.
Yes.
So from where you sit, is this like a little messy now in terms of expectations that people have had about recovery, the loot, and then now having to become aware that it's not, as Ghanaians would say, it's not easy like that.
No, it's not easy like that. And you see, remember that you are sending a former CEO, you are sending a former minister to jail for alleged infractions. You think he's going to say, oh, thank you very much, let's go? He's going to fight back. And so people must temper their expectations a little bit and appreciate the fact that when you say, oh, this is what we have and this is what our investigations have revealed, it is not equal to, in a mathematical sense, to go into jail instantly. It means we are now going to institute the processes towards substantiating the information we have given out to you there. And that information can even be challenged. This is your document. Where did you get it from? I have never seen this. I have never seen that. It's not admissible. Those are several reasons why. And people must be given an opportunity to defend themselves, regardless of our perceptions. Because what they tell us out there, they are perceptions. That's what the Attorney General thinks. Defense counsel won't think the same. And I don't owe him an obligation to think the way he thinks. And I don't have to agree with him. And so people should begin to, they will see results. They will see results. But instant results, they will not see.
Yeah, well, it's good to know that we have to now temper, our emotions and aggressiveness with the law. Speaking about that, I know Mustafa Hamid has a whole tall lot of laws and charges and apparently assets that has been seized. But it was trending on TikTok or some viral online thing lately that he's cool crap because all the charges that have come out against him are useless.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I came to support my friend Utumi. Me, my matter there is useless. It does nothing in it. It's true. Yeah, I came to support my friend Utumi. Me, my matter there is useless. It does nothing in it. It's true.
I can understand him. He's an accused person. 1. 2 is the OSP who is making those allegations against him. He was the one in the position. And so the facts and circumstances based on which the OSP has taken the view that he's guilty are well known to him. So if he says, look, they are useless, he understands what he's saying. But what is curious about his case is that I realized that it started from a newspaper publication. And
that's how the case started?
Yes, because there was some publication that said so. Because it's in court, I don't want to talk too much about it.
Okay.
Then, all of a sudden, we hear he's invited by the OSP. The initial allegations that were against him, all of a sudden, changed when the first charge sheet was brought. Then,
the charges changed?
The charges changed based on the allegations that we had heard. The charges were no longer the same. Then, they go to court, and the OSP amends the charges. So from the original charges, there's a second charge sheet. Now here there's a third charge sheet.
Another amended.
Yes, so I'm beginning to get worried because then it means right from the beginning, the foundation of the case was not on solid ground. It was not on rock in biblical sense. It was on sand because at every point you realize that the OSP has to make a shift. So I am beginning to think that Mustafa Hamid knows what he's talking about. Because of the persistent shifting in the position of the OSP. And so maybe this is the sense in which Ghanaians must begin to understand that whatever you hear or is given to you right from the outset, you must consume with a little bit of caution. And so if Mustafa Hamid is speaking like that right now, he may be sitting on something. Because why have we to... I say we because he's the Republic and he's representing us. So why have we had to change position about 3 times based on one simple matter? And so the tall order of charges may not genuinely reflect what is on the ground. So I don't want to go into the merits of the matter. Yeah. But I'm sure very soon we'll all see.
We'll be watching with bated breath. Yeah. But just to wrap it all up, I think for me today, what I've learned most from this interview is the role of the OSP vis-a-vis the role of the AG and who's independent and where they are overlapping and all kinds of things.
Okay, it's the information that is given to us.
Yeah.
OSP shall be independent. OSP shall be independent. And so you see in the first line of his section 4 also, they say, he shall not be subject to the direction and control. I say, right following that, then they say that he shall prosecute on the authorization of the AG subject to Article 88. Wow. Because the AG's powers are not from the statute, from an act of parliament. They are from the Constitution. So he has overriding power. And the Constitution says that every criminal proceeding in this country shall be instituted by the Attorney General. How can an act of parliament take that away from the AG? That is not, it can't be correct. The AG is the overriding center of power insofar as criminal prosecution is concerned. And the act that establishes the OSP acknowledges it. So let's have some clarity on it and let's have some humility in terms of power. If he acknowledges that, I'm sure he will work very well with the AG and he doesn't have to explain to us that we're friends and we understand what we are doing. It's not what you are doing. The way you do what the law says you should do. Nobody cares what your relationship with him is.
Is what the law is saying you should do.
I like to, now that you've said that, the law
is the law.
That's what it is.
No matter how many noises are made, the law is the law.
And on that note, folks, the law being the law, well, show some love one more time to my great friend, and by the way, just so you know, he's my attorney too. That's why people don't mess with me. Look, before I do any show, I call him. Charlie, this is what I'm going to say. And he advised me. So you people would think you will sue me. Charlie, no, Tad, thank you so much for the...
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far, so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.